Alright, I'm going to just walk you through finding the discriminant and how to use it for IXL here in case you had some trouble with what we learned yesterday. So, whenever you're looking at the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This part right here, highlight it here, this part right here, this b squared minus 4ac, the part that's underneath the square root, that is your discriminant. And if the discriminant is positive, if it is positive, you have two real solutions. If it is negative, you have one real, I'm sorry, no, that is false. Go back. If it is 0, you have one real solution. And if the discriminant is negative, you have no real solutions. So let's try this first problem. The first ones you're going to get on IXL just ask you for the discriminant. So you just have to do b squared minus 4ac. So you got 7v squared minus 5v plus 5. And so for this, your a is 7, your b is negative 5, and your c is positive 5. So b squared minus 4ac, that part underneath the square root, is going to be negative 5 squared minus 4 times 7 times 5, right there. So you can just go over to Desmos and type that in real quick. Make sure if you use that negative that you put parentheses around it. And so we will get negative 115 for our discriminant here. I do not usually include this negative right here when I type this in. I just say 5 squared minus 4 times 7 times 5. And I do that because 5 squared is going to be positive. Negative 5 squared is also positive. That way you don't have to worry about the parentheses. So we've got negative 115 for our answer here. Let's do the next one. In this case, our A is 1. Our B is 6. Our C is 9. And so b squared minus 4ac is going to be 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9. And if we run over to Desmos here and do 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9, we're going to get 0. So we will have a discriminant of 0 here. Here's our next one. We've got 6p squared minus 5p plus 3. So we would have, in this case, A is 6, B is negative 5, C is 3. Okay, so for our b squared minus 4ac, we're going to have negative 5 squared minus 4 times 6 times 3. And we'll run over here to our Desmos. I'm just going to put 5 squared. You can put the negative 5 if you want. But just be careful, because negative 47 is going to be the correct answer. If I type it in like this, negative 5 squared minus 4 times 6 times 3, I get the wrong, put 3 there, I get negative 97, which is incorrect. because to type it incorrectly, you have to put -5 in parentheses, squared minus 4 times 6 times 3 right here. So either one of these are fine, but you cannot type it in like this. I usually just leave off the negative there. So we get -47 is our discriminant there. This next one I'm just going to do real quick. We'll have 8 squared minus 4 times 8 times 2 for this discriminant. And if we type it in over here, we're going to get 0 for that one. Okay. Once you get through those first few, you're going to start to get questions that look like this. It tells you to find the discriminant, but then you have to choose whether you have no real solutions, one real solution, or two real solutions. So this goes back to what I put up there first. If your discriminant is positive, then you're going to have two real solutions. If your discriminant is 0, then you're going to only have one solution because you're doing -b plus or minus 0, which doesn't change it at all. And then if it's negative, then you get no real solutions because you can't have negative numbers under the square root. You can't take square roots of negative numbers. So let's just look at this problem here. We would do our discriminant, so we'd have 2 squared minus 4 times 8 times -1. And so let's type that into Desmos real quick. So we're going to get 2 squared minus 4 times 8 times 1. And that's going to give me -28. So I'm getting -28 as my discriminant. If I have a negative discriminant, that means a negative under the square root, which we can't do. So that is no real solutions for this one. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, I lost my negative right here. I didn't type it in. If I'd put that negative right there, I'd get a +36, which would be two real solutions. So, oops. We got it now. It's going to ask me a discriminant again real quick. So, 4 squared minus 4 times 1. That's going to be 0. Know that one right away. All right, let's try this one. Let's see if I can do it correctly. So, discriminant -3 squared minus 4 times 2 times -9. Okay, so we're going to go to Desmos and type that in. So, again, you can type in the -3. I'm just going to put 3 because it's squared. Minus 4 times 2 times -9. And we're going to get 81. 81 is positive, which is going to be two real solutions. Okay, here's our next one. We've got our A for this one is 2, our B is 4, and our C is 4. So we would have 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 4. And so whenever we do that, we're going to negative on that one. 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 4. We get -16. So a negative is going to be no real solutions. Okay. I'm going to do just a couple more. If you've already got it, feel free to go ahead. So discriminant here, we've got -3 squared minus 4 times 5 times 7. And so that one is going to be negative. I'm just going to go ahead and put no solutions real quick. I'd like to get one that's one real solution. I don't know if I'm going to come across one. Here we've got -5 squared minus 4 times 7 times 3. That one's going to be negative. I'm pretty sure. Just doing that math real quick in my head. But 5 squared minus 4 times 7 times 3.
Can I eat one of these?
You cannot eat anything else. No.
No, can I have one?
So that was negative. It'd be no real solution.
Mom, it's going
No, go put it up.
So can I go get one?
And so that's the idea you'll go through. I haven't came across one that you'll get So you'll just go through the rest of these. If you get a negative for the discriminant, that's no real solutions. If you get 0 for the discriminant, that's 1 real solution. If you get a positive for the discriminant, that's 2 real solutions. So hopefully that'll help you with this part.